What's good, YouTube? It's your boy P Money. So I got some Blazers news for you all, man. And I wanted to start off by talking about how impressed I am with Jerami Grant on both ends of the floor in those first two preseason games. Now, what he brings to the table is something that the Blazers have needed at the 4 position for so long, so many years now, you know? And just to be able to have that type of talent, you know, is a very welcomed addition, you know? And once the chemistry gets to where it needs to be and everybody understands where they're supposed to be at, you know, in certain actions on both ends, I feel like this is going to be a very fun season for this team, man. You know, I feel like they're gonna shatter the expectations of most out there that are in, you know, on different fans of different teams, the so-called experts in the NBA and things of that nature. I just feel like he's really gonna show up and show out. Even Blazers fans, you know, weren't impressed with Jerami Grant, but what he's done so far, it's gonna be something that's definitely needed. And you even got some mainstream media Blazers writers out there talking about, could the Blazers potentially have 2 All-Stars this season? And of course they're talking about Jerami Grant because what he can bring to the table on both ends, you know? I mean, after all the Jerami Grant slander that was out there in Blazers land, now they're talking like that. That's the double talk, you know, that I don't like, but it is what it is. In other news, Dame looks very explosive on his drives in those first 2 preseason games, and that's a very important factor for the Blazers this season. So if Dame is back, and if that's what it looks like to me from those first 2 preseason games, that Dame is back, you know, that's another reason to be very optimistic about the Blazers this upcoming season. Now, in the 3rd preseason game against Maccabi, Shaedon Sharpe went off against them for 27 points, and that's a huge confidence booster for his progression in the NBA, you know what I'm saying? And it shows why the Blazers picked him number 7 overall, you know what I'm saying? That's why they decided to keep that pick instead of using it to trade for another guy, because this guy right here has all the potential to become a great player in the NBA, you know what I'm saying? And then it's not very often that the Blazers get to choose that high, and it's looking like that move could potentially pay off, you know. So general salute to Shaedon Sharpe and his game against Maccabi. Now another young guy who the Blazers just ended up picking up his 2023 and 2024 option in Keon Johnson is making a great case to be a rotational piece this season. It's looking like he's going to be a wing off the bench, and in those first 2 preseason games, he was the first guy off the bench. So I think that's huge for him, you know, to his confidence, you know, just being a guy that's scrappy like that. There's not many guys in the league that will pick you up full court, you know. And if he's working on that and he keeps doing that, that's gonna, him doing that has also been causing turnovers on the opposing team. So that's his calling card, it seems like, the defensive end. And he's very active, you know, he's always got active hands. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what his role is going to be, if he is going to be a guy that comes off the bench for us. You know, that's beautiful, you know. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing his progression. Also, there were some things that I was concerned with, and there was 2 things in particular. Fouling, I felt, was a pretty big problem in those first 2 games. Against the Clippers, they had 20. Against the Jazz, they had 25. Also turnovers. Against the Clippers, they had 16. Against the Jazz, they had 17. So that's just because, lack of chemistry. Guys not really, trusting each other on the defensive end yet, and things of that nature. I feel like those things will get cleaned up, but those are two things that were kind of alarming to me in those two games. Also, in other news, I was seeing that fans seem to be coming for Nas when it was just released today that he was just recently cleared to play right before preseason. So of course he's not going to look like himself. He's still working his way back. He's not in a good rhythm, and that's always going to happen when you're coming off an injury. So I still feel like Nas is going to be a major impactful player for the team this season. And so I'm not really too worried about him. You know what I mean? If he starts, if he comes off the bench, either way, I just feel like he has what it takes to be the Blazers starter. I believe that everybody on the team believes in him, So Blazers fans need to calm down with the foolishness, and let him breathe, He's working his way back, and he's going to have a major impact. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Also, in other news, it's been reported that the Blazers released Brandon Williams, Wes Uwundu, and Devontae Cacok. Now that leaves two open two-way slots for Isaiah Miller, Olivier Sarr, and Jared Rhoden. So three of those guys could be competing for those two spots, but we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. In terms of Brandon Williams, I felt like he really struggled in the preseason games, and I felt he was also struggling in the summer league. But he definitely has a skill set for the NBA. So I wish him, Uwundu, and Cacok the best of luck on their future endeavors, especially Brandon Williams, because I feel like he definitely has game, and more than likely somebody will go ahead and pick him up. But I don't really have too much else on this one. This is your boy P Money. Tell me what you guys think, and I'm off this.